24 hours a day, 7 days a week, this oil rig keeps right on pumping. From Abu Dhabi to Qatar, most of these oil producers say they can't open the taps any wider.
Actually, there isn't the capacity today. It will take 3 to 5 years to bring on excess capacity. And even with that excess capacity that's being planned, the local demand is increasing so quickly, there's a real question of how much would be available to the global market.
In my opinion, everybody is full speed, enjoying high prices, but there is no excess capacity immediately.
Record petroleum prices brought in $380 billion last year for the 6 nations of the Gulf, but the record windfall wasn't expected. Today's high prices and rising costs at the pump are a result of a huge miscalculation. Industry planners underestimated the world's growing appetite for oil. Even with an economic slowdown in the U.S. and Europe, global demand this year is estimated to hit a record 87 million barrels a day, up from 74 million a decade ago. By 2030, that number is expected to reach 115 million. Thank China, India, Russia, and the booming economies of the Middle East for the surging demand.
The developed world have got to realize that, they're in a bit of a has-been status, and these other people have got demands of their own and growing, and there's got to be more of a balance.
The new economic reality has not stopped U.S. President George W. Bush from asking old allies like Saudi Arabia to produce more.
Oil prices are very high, which is tough on our economy, and that I would hope as OPEC considers different production levels that they understand that if they're one of their biggest consumers, as the economy suffers, it'll mean less purchases, less oil and gas sold.
But even Bush's closest allies have publicly acknowledged that upping production may not be possible, and some of the extra oil available is of lesser quality.
There's just not a lot out there, and some of that excess capacity represents high sulfur crude, for example. It's not very attractive and not easily marketed. You've also got a situation in which there's been a dramatic increase in demand, and not just in the developed world, but in the developing world.
OPEC's in the midst of spending an estimated $150 billion over the next 5 years, a third of that coming from Saudi Arabia. But that overall investment is not going to do anything to tackle the near-term production and price challenges.
The excess capacity that you can see today exists in Saudi Arabia. There's capacity that will come on in Iraq, assuming Iraq stabilizes. And there's capacity that could come on from Iran if relations warm with that nation.
Meanwhile, big non-OPEC producers like Britain, Norway, and Mexico have seen their production drop 25 to 40% in the past 8 years because of depleting oil reserves, which means Gulf producers, especially Saudi Arabia, will be in the driver's seat for years to come, and in no particular rush to get more oil to market. John Defterios, CNN, Abu Dhabi.